We're good, right?
Yep.
Make sure the arms, everything is good. Okay. Okay. So, welcome to Southern Perspective, episode 13. 13 in, 13 deep. 13 is a lucky number, right?
Yep.
It should be. Okay, so this is a debrief with context of South Glengarry's May 11th and 25th council meeting.
Yes.
Okay, so today on Southern Perspective, we sit down with Mayor Lachlan McDonald to unpack both those meetings. So they include the Township's updated asset management plan, agricultural access improvement, green road requests, Green Valley's intensification, housing intensification, and the council's decision to approve an indoor firing range. So we discuss airport growth, heritage, preservation initiative, etc., etc. So welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes. So it seems you have a lot on your plate over the last two meetings, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So let's start with the asset management plan. So planning for the long term. So council approved the updated 2025 asset management plan, which serves as a township roadmap.
Yes.
For maintaining, replacing infrastructure over time. So staff seem to emphasize that the plan will continue to evolve as better data comes in and updated costs become available. So what were the most significant updates in this year's assessment plan?
Okay, so always updating numbers. So
Okay.
a little perspective on asset management planning came in 2017, and there's kind of been every 2 years an update. So this one had some level of service increases. And what I mean by that is we put numbers to it. Like say we will have X amount of something per X amount of people or Y amount of people.
Okay.
So it's putting those numbers together just so we have a benchmark of what we're funding and how much it costs. And then the conversation should go, if it does say an evergreen document, as people call it, that we can say, like, do we want to increase or decrease levels of service? So that wording was in there.
Okay. All right. So green roads. So basically there's a agricultural access versus sort of environmental preservation.
Yes.
So you consider requests to improve access to agricultural properties, using open roads, allowances. So you're balancing the needs of farm operations with the desire to preserve mature trees. So what factors led to support sort of a wider access corridor while trying to preserve these trees?
Yes. It depends on which road. Sometimes you have 60 feet, sometimes you have more.
Yeah.
So we tried to preserve as much trees while also making it not impossible for a farmer to traverse.
These are for green roads, right?
Yes, green roads, yeah. So many times, like say a concession stops on County Road 34 and there's not a continuance on the other side, that is a green road, so it's an unopened road allowance.
Okay.
Anybody can travel them.
Yeah.
Oftentimes farmers do use them with our permission, and that's the nice thing is in the past, a lot of the time, people would not ask permission, they'd just clear them and then use them. So we've been a little bit harder, I suppose, on the farm community, but they've responded by asking for permission, and that's what this one is. So I think our bylaw says 6 meters, we did 8 meters, just to make sure that the farmer could operate efficiently within those bounds.
So before you were still managing the green roads, but now there's a little bit more of a management of those roads for farmers, so that farmers and the public have access. Correct?
Correct. Yes. In the past, oftentimes they just get cleared.
Yeah.
And now people are asking permission, and we're maintaining our right of way a little better. So you're exactly right that way.
Okay. So you're supporting agriculture through infrastructure. So there's a second green road request near Spring Creek Roads. It's aimed at improving access for these agricultural operations and formalize, as we mentioned, sort of existing access points. So question is the township footing the entire bill for this green road, or is it for expanding you're expanding agricultural operations, but how does it work as far as who's paying for what green road wide? Because most of the time they're used for farmers, correct?
Correct. So in many of the cases, the person who's benefiting pays for them.
Okay.
In that, again, like if these roads were not maintained, they'd go to fallow and they would They would grow up. Many of them are treed. So in this case, some trees will be removed.
Okay.
But that's at the obligation of the farmer, the benefiting individual. So
Okay.
the township doesn't pay for any of it because it's not a road we would use, but it
Okay.
is a road that's open to the public at any time. Like any public can traverse our green roads. It's somewhat unknown. Like you could take a hike and walk through many places that you don't know. But some of them lead to farms. And in this case, instead of having to do a big roundabout, it's allowing a farmer to get to access his property, but he is responsible for the clearing of that.
So the initial clearing will be on the farmer's responsibility,
and the maintenance will probably too. We won't go and clear it. It's for his benefit, so they can maintain it.
Okay.
So that's kind of a win-win.
People ask questions. People always
Yeah.
they always do. Are we paying for that? Who's paying for that? And so those types.
The peanut line, which is our recreational trail, that's everybody.
And it's been there for quite some time too. So that's good. Okay, so economic development. So you approved a regional incentive with Ora Wood Company and Wild Streak Farm. So it helps facilitate county support economic development funding.
Yep.
So can you clarify what role the township plays versus the county does in finalizing projects like this? So what projects are these?
Yeah, I think these two would fall under the expansion of business and sometimes signage. So I believe that's what these two are. And the counties have the money. They have a big pot. It's called the Regional Incentive Program.
Okay.
And our local perspective is we do have to approve it. It has to run through us. Just that's the hierarchy of the nature. And we do help with people when they come in and ask. There's some paperwork to get done. And our economic development officer, Jennifer Cheverton, often does help the applicant through the process. And we were quite successful with two. We've had more in other years, but it kind of moves around in any given year.
So these are sort of funds that are available probably through counties.
Yes.
That your economic development director helps sort of organizations or companies find help with for what they're actually looking for and needing.
Exactly.
Okay, that's very cool. Okay, so budget. Let's talk budget. 2026 budget and your tax law rate bylaws. So you formally passed your 2026 budget.
Yes.
Okay, and the tax rate bylaw. So basically, you completed your legislative process for your municipal operations. So now that the budget has been formally adopted, what will the average taxpayer see as an increase in their bill?
Okay, and that's a great question and a good way to frame it because tax rates, as I say, somewhat nebulous, but whenever we talk about how much the increase will be.
How much more will I be paying?
Yes, it should be plus or minus 3.98%.
Okay.
That's residential. I think commercial is a little bit and industrial has a little bit difference because they have different multipliers, but for the most part, 3.98%. The way that's constructed is counties is about 4.48% increase. Our local one, I think it was 4.3 or 4.4, and then education at 0. When you blend those together, what people fill in their pocketbooks, 3.98%. So that's the lowest we've had it in the last 4 years, and I hope it's not just an election thing because we're still investing in the community, roads, bridges, and buildings, as I often say.
Yes, I know, of course.
So the big one this year was the building the Charland Rec Center, but that's it's 3.98%.
But you also did get some grants for that as well too.
Oh, considerable grants, just a little under $1 million from the provincial government. And I'd like everybody to know that we didn't just do our budget in May. We had done it in December. It's just the formalizing of it. So we were not late.
And things like the Charland Arena, I'm pretty sure that was a project that came a long time ago under the Winterio projects, many years ago. So if anybody remembers that, we need to sort of revisit some of these structures and sort of bring them back up because those Winterio grants were a very, very long time ago when those things were built. So.
Yeah, it's the price of free money, they say sometimes. You get a free arena, but then you have to start paying for the updates. And I think we're doing a good job with council, and as have a few previous renditions. It's just we're always catching up with that. Free money is nice, but if you get a new thing, you have to remind yourself that you have to pay for it next time or renovate it. And our renovation will be over $2 million, so it's significant.
And it's on track so far? Or?
On track so far, thankfully, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touch wood. There you go. So airport growth and economic opportunities. So you received updates indicating that there's increased activity at the local Summerstown Airport, right? Yeah. So there's actually growing interest in hangar development. So what seems to be the activity that's actually fueling this, and and you see the airport playing a larger role in economic development in upcoming years?
Yeah, I don't have the crystal ball about future years. I would imagine if we get a commercial hangar, there's a hangar there that is goes in and out of rental. So having a stable tenant there would do wonders for economic development. We have that big truck service center that's coming in just east of County Road 27, Summerstown Road, and perhaps that will start building out, and we can get some industries around there. That would be the dream. Okay. And then when you talk about current drivers, Cornwall Aviation, the Smalls company, they use that quite a bit. Their business is just directly beside it, and they have a lot of planes. They're teaching a lot of people from, well, I think from around the world, but yeah, they bring a lot of business. But it would be nice to see some additional businesses cluster around that airport. There's not a lot of small airports left.
But is there a lot of commercial sort of goods coming in through the airports, or is that what sort of the need is actually pointing to somewhat, or?
I haven't seen that. Mostly like RCMP, OPP, Orange, like those are the ones there. But sometimes I forget what there's a name, but there's a company near half a decade ago that had rented it fairly consistently. Okay. And I don't know if they were an aviation flight school. I'm sorry.
No, but it's okay. I'm just saying. Okay, well, the hangars are for what?
The hangars that this particular, because that was I think Councillor MacDonald brought up that point, are like more hangars for people who fly recreationally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is an increase in.
Oh yes, I think respectfully, those who are doing well in today's climate, and those who aren't seem to be slipping behind. So I think in that case. Yeah, we've seen hangars, and the leases are, I think, for 10 or 20 years. So there's a good interest in the flying club there.
Okay, that's very cool.
Or flying out of there, I should say.
Yeah.
I've got a premonition. Things ain't gonna go my way. It's gonna break me down. Yeah, it's taking me day by day. I've got a bad feeling creeping up and down my spine. You're gonna leave me, honey, 'cause it's weighing heavy on my mind.
So, sort of the Heritage Conservation District consultation. So you heard that public participation has been strong regarding the proposed Heritage Conservation District in South Lancaster. So can you explain what this Heritage District would look like and what feedback has stood out most from residents?
Yes, so we did have 2 open houses, 2 to 4, and then I think it was 5 to 7 a few weeks back. I suppose there's 2 methods or 2 ways they're looking at doing it. One would be have the whole area described as a heritage district. Well, maybe 3. If not that, then have certain buildings as heritage district or high heritage properties. Or lastly, it's individuals applying for heritage designation on their property. We want to keep in mind that like South Glengarry and the Raisin River in particular, you have South Lancaster, Williamstown, Martintown, St. Andrews, kind of that is a fairly decent corridor for history in our area.
Yeah.
Trying to keep those villages like keep their character while allowing for growth in them. So that's where it started, but it's hard to. You don't want to take the individual rights of property owners away too. So if 40% of people want heritage district and 60% don't, and I don't know those numbers, they haven't come to us yet. You'd hate to let a minority rule the majority, but if you can have a process like North Glengarry has done it well. They have designated certain properties, and I could see it going that way, but we'll wait for the heritage committee to give us their recommendation.
So this one here would be sort of particular this is in South Lancaster, right?
South LA, just down by the wharf.
South LA, like that.
that area, yeah.
Okay, so and then that's you would sort of start with that and maybe go sort of these other ones subsequently at some point in other communities which could have designated properties as well too.
Yes, and it started with there was a development that we approved, and that kind of rallied that community to say they didn't like
to say don't forget that we have some places that are of heritage value and concern. And
yes, and they might say the character of the whole settled like that. And that's the discussion, like the whole pre-decided parts, or let individuals decide for themselves. So that's kind of But you are right. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's interesting. So right now you don't know whether you're going for like a sort of model of a sort of a district or properties. There's no.
Correct.
You're still waiting some data and consultation on that as well too.
Yes, and a report coming back from staff based on the community open houses, which were very well attended, I must say.
Yeah.
So to be determined.
To be determined. Okay, so so there's an agricultural zoning amendment in Lancaster. You approved a zoning amendment that reduced minimum lot sizes requirement. So,
Yes.
How does this decision support long-term farmland preservation?
Yeah. So in this case, it's a lovely thing that a child is taking over a farm. So they're splitting the house from the farm so they can build somewhere else. Keep
Okay.
the farm separate from the farm property. So I suppose the hardest thing for farmers nowadays, it seems, is the carrying the tradition to the next generation, as well as a younger generation. I don't know the average age of a farmer, but I imagine it's up there based on things
Yeah.
I've seen. We'll say I've gone to a few Glengarry Farmers GFA, Glengarry Federation of Agriculture
Yeah.
AGMs, and it's not a young crowd, we'll say.
Yeah.
So I guess we're supporting agriculture by allowing it to be easy to hand the farm over. In this case.
So, but that means, does that make sort of properties a little more difficult to sell afterwards because there's an extra dwelling on there? Or?
In this case, it separates the farmland from the house, and I think that actually makes it simpler for the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So, fire service modernization. So you approved funding for tablets
Yes.
in fire service vehicles, allowing some of the firefighters to access and record some of these information in real time. So, is this just for tablets, or is there software, or how does this sort of this funding work?
Software we already have it, so it just allows it to be remote in the vehicles, I suppose, in the because tankers and the pumpers. So whenever they go to the scene, instead of going back home and finding a computer and writing it or writing it on paper, they'll have the tablet there that they can put in information. In addition, the building department can tie into it. So if they go to a place that has information on, say, like flammable materials that we're aware of, they can just poke it on, look on it, and kind of have more knowledge going into it. A safer fire for the firefighters, as well as simpler reporting afterwards.
Okay, so more access to the actual information per se.
Correct.
While the fire event is going on.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. Okay, so there's an automatic aid agreement with North Glengarry that was you rescinded this 2014 automatic aid agreement after reviewing response data, and you still are maintaining a broader mutual aid arrangement. So, what is this automatic aid arrangement, and why did the response data prompted council to rescind it?
Yes, I wish I had Fire Chief Robertson to give you the perfect answer, but from what I recall in the conversation, because I had that same question, are we dropping service here? Automatic aid is if they call Green Valley and it's near the border, Alexandria will automatically respond, so we'll get 2 vehicles there at the same time, or 1, or depending on response times. Mutual aid allows us to call them, so we're still able to call them if we need them. The data was given to us, and I don't think there was enough need. Like it didn't benefit anybody over the, I guess, last 5 years in a significant way.
Yeah.
A lot of false calls were being false alarms were being sent out. So we were able to respond to it. I guess we didn't need that southern motion, and they didn't need the northern motion. Like our services are taking care of it quite well presently.
Was it rescind because of sort of a financial tie, or is this how?
I suppose we would pay them, but it would be modest. So it was just lack of need.
Lack of need.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And so, speaking of Green Valley, okay, there's an amendment recognizing an existing duplex that allows a future semi-detached dwelling within this particular service settlement area. So, is this sort of a one-off sort of amendment zoning for Green Valley, or do you see other sort of amendments that would see Green Valley sort of increase as well too?
Yeah, this specific one is one-off. It's a property being severed from another property, so I mean it's only so much space. But our council has been fairly development friendly, so if anybody, look into the camera, if you know of anybody who has a good property and we can build some density where we have services, we're glad to we're glad to listen. And if there's more than just one-offs,
Yeah.
we're also glad to listen to people who want to build subdivisions in and around.
Yeah, and places like Green Valley can accommodate I suppose if with the proper paperwork and
Yes.
and amendments and so forth, they can accommodate the new dwellings and
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
okay.
Now, you should answer the questions. You know them better than I do sometimes.
I don't. It's this thing it's this thing. Well, we've been sort of. I don't want to digress, but we've been nominated for a transparency award. Actually, from the nomination did come from your office.
Wonderful.
Okay, which is and then this is in the sort of in the optics to actually sort of say, well, I'm not answering the question. It's just the type of thing is that if I'm sitting there, I say, this is the type of question I was saying. What does this mean?
Yes, I like that you asked the question.
It's those types of things, to say, I don't really understand, or where is this actual property,
So can I ask you, 2026, are you going to run for council?
I'm not going to run for council. It's a definite no. I've been asked this many times before, and I'm not going to run for council. There's a lot of there's a lot of reasons.
That wasn't part of the program.
There's a lot of reasons why, but I'd rather sort of have this repartee with my fellow politicians.
Yes.
Okay, and so that we can sort of clear things up, and make them nice and concise.
Yes.
And say to actually also say that these are what these elected folks are actually doing for you.
Yes.
That's my mandate.
Yeah.
So moving on. Okay, let's just see the I won't say infamous. I'll say the indoor firing range final zoning approval. So you approved zoning amendment for the proposed indoor firing range after months of public discussion and technical reviews. So after extensive debate and public input, what ultimately convinced council that this proposal should move forward?
Okay, so the local citizens did put together a petition. I think there was about 45 signatures on it. I want to commend them for the way they did it. They didn't get far away support. So, and I say that, and despite the opposition, and it was pretty all opposition from the local nearby, we were concerned mostly with noise and noise pollution, I guess. Lead, if it could get out, they have a system for that. And then if it would damage our roads or decrease the quality of life. The portion they're building on is fairly small, so they should be able to stay shaded from the neighbors. It will be a commercial entity though. They have this house within a house construction, which they've said, and that's the hard thing. We kind of talked back and forth about, do we have a hammer after if they don't follow what was suggested? So it's supposed to be as loud as somebody raking leaves. And I think that's just outside the building. So with the wind rustling, the thought was there should be no impact if the studies are proper. So those were noise, and then traffic. We decreased their lot from 130 parking spots to 50, and we don't think there's going to be an overflow onto the road. So maybe in some of council's mind, they would have rathered it in a different spot, but we didn't think it would be detrimental in that spot. So we said yes, and it was unanimous. We did what we always do for ones where there's community pushback or people against that proposal. We did a recorded vote, so nobody can just, all in favor. We go around the table and say the reasons why, because we should be held to account for things that are contentious, we'll say, and infamous might have been the right word that you kind of didn't say, but
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
So that's
so basically your vote and your reasoning are actually recorded and on YouTube as well.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
people, as I also mentioned, they can also go and see that, right? They can also go and see why, the reasoning behind, each member's vote and so forth, which is really good and also transparent.
Oh,
right?
we try to be as much as we can. It's from the chair portion, because I can hide behind a lot of votes. But, anyway, yeah.
That's good. Good. So, and this is an indoor facility, right?
It's indoor, yes. It's the shooting range will be kind of in containers essentially, and then there will be a container, a building on top of that, and there will be on the other side for sales and concessions.
Yeah, and nowadays with decibel meters and whatever, it's easy to measure all of those things. I mean, if they say that it's going to be within a certain range, then that's very easy to measure and to follow up on if ever there are some issues, right?
Yes.
So, good. So let me just see where sort of coming. You sort of answered this a little bit, but because of the firing range proposed, had both opposition and whatnot. How does council navigate situation where public opinion is sharply divided? Like you've mentioned that a little bit, sort of the transparency, voting at the end and whatnot. And we've talked about maybe some other situations where people are going to be constructing some other businesses or industries.
Yes.
So how do is it difficult for council to manage some of those things? There's these protocols in place to actually do that, or?
Yeah, I suppose we all have our ways to think through it, would be it. I'm always a little uncomfortable because naturally, as mayor, people sometimes go to the top in that case, and I will visit if people ask, and I try to be as transparent as possible when I know how I'm feeling, or I try to tell them. So I'd say, and by uncomfortable, I just mean it's never pleasant to sit up across from somebody who disagrees with your way of thinking.
Yeah.
Everybody's been very kind, so I always try to think of like, what should I do for my whole community? What should I do for the near community? What does council kind of think? Like however, has our council voted, and like what is administration recommending? And that's how my process is. Others are different, so that's kind of my basis for it. And then I think I've said it before. The most amount of good for the greatest amount of people for the longest duration. If you can make that your decision, most decisions will be somewhat accurate, and you'll be wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
And
if you reflect on this year, because of the greater the increased or the participation in sort of this particular process, do you find that South Glengarry has done a pretty decent job at sort of as sort of listening to its citizens, or?
I think the nearby citizens on 3 of our things would say no, because Beaupre Road, there was a wedding venue 2 years ago. Last year was the eightplex in South Lancaster, and this one, and those were all things that the local community, like the nearby community, did not want, that we had approved.
Yeah.
So I suppose we listen, and at the same time it seems like we've taken the decision. I'm not trying to be cheeky with that comment.
No.
It's just we try and take the whole community as best you can, and change is always tough. So I do acknowledge that.
Yeah.
I really hope that those 3 decisions particularly, once they're developed, everybody will say, okay, it wasn't so bad. I actually don't mind it at all. But
and then you're also making these decisions also based on what could potentially come in the future if another wedding venue sort of decides to be built somewhere else or whatever. Those things are assessed and sort of and taken into consideration. Okay, so if we're looking at you had regional collaborations on community projects. So you had community updates, a lot of community updates the last time on county roads and heritage matters and landfill evaluation, local archives. So are there any community projects that residents should be particularly excited about? So,
roads
a better term.
Roads and bridges get people.
Yes.
I'd say the Charlene Rec Center is the one, if there was, and we gave out over 40,000. Well, I guess 40,000 community grants. So we won't be the ones delivering those things, but we've helped facilitate the community to serve itself. But the Charlene Rec Center, crossing fingers, knocking on wood that everything goes according to schedule, because you have tariffs and like gasoline prices quite high right now.
Yeah,
that might throw things out of schedule just crossing the border, but that's the big one. It would be nice to see Charlene Arena up and running for hockey season next year.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah, so that the brigades can sort of have their bi-weekly games.
Exactly.
Not everything hosted in North Glengarry, right?
Yes, that's true. And then obviously the skating club and hockey, the minor sports too are big. They use a lot of ice, so there's nothing that said it's behind, but you always some trepidation, whenever you're waiting for a big project to complete. Anyway. Yeah.
Okay, so big picture. So if you're looking at May as a whole, it feels like the council is definitely increasing, focused on modernizing. Like you're talking the iPads, you're talking about the Charlene Arena and so forth. So and you're still protecting the Glengarry's rural character. So would that be a fair assessment as to what what's sort of what council is sort of its vision at the moment, or?
I'd say so. Yeah, we don't want to forget who we are, and I think there's that rural taking care of people, and
we don't want to forget who we are, but we have to acknowledge that things also have to move ahead as well.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully on like our community's terms and not dictated from bigger or smaller powers. But yeah, I think councils, focus on rural, and then where we can update, like that's the fire will help us serve the people better. So yeah, but that's kind of rural bringing too, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of just those good rural values. I think we try and focus on those as best we can. Try and apply some common sense, but those are all political buzzwords, and I feel like I'm not giving you a great answer, but yeah, I think you're accurate.
Okay, so is there anything else you would like to touch on before, as we're sort of heading into the summer? We finally got our sort of summer weather here a little bit. Or?
Yeah, well, government slows down a little bit in the summer, so less meetings, and so take some time from your politicians. If you have any questions about things going on, always glad to answer. And what are we now? We are June, so 2 more months and a half until nominations have to be in. So if anybody has any questions who wants to run for council, please do. Reach out to me. I can inform you in the last 4 years. I'm encouraging everybody and anybody, the more the merrier. We don't want acclamations. We want contested offices everywhere.
We want to go through know that the political process actually does work.
Yes.
And actually say, this is democratic. It's, you throw your hat in, and then basically say people like what you have to say, then they'll put you in charge.
Yes. I know.
So, good. Well, thank you very much. So we want to thank all of our viewers for watching. We want to thank our main sponsor, Glengarry Clothing Company, who dropped today. Today we are June 1st. They dropped actually 2 new designs.
Oh, nice.
So really, and they are very, very cool. So, and we want to thank them for supporting this segment. We also want to remind the public that if they do want businesses or public, if they do want to come and help on Glengarry TV, or if they want to become a patron for a segment, please reach out to us. We will gladly listen to what you have to say. If you have an idea for a segment, we've had a few of them come in this week about some Celtic music, some vintage Celtic music that we're going to try to get our hands on and put it back out there, which would be kind of cool. So, or if you want to become a contributor, it'd be a great idea. So, watch these posts on social. We're going to have more posts, so watch them on social, and you can always go to the GlengarryTV.com website. You will find that there. Always, Mayor Lachlan McDonald. Thank you very much for coming in, and we hope that you can find us on Facebook and on YouTube. And as I say, smash the subscribe button. Okay, yes, make sure that it's nice and smashed. And it's the handle is @MyGlengarryTV. We will see you there, and we will see you next month.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.